Call the meeting to order. Rhonda, you want to do roll call?
Yes. Pete Powers,
Here.
Greg Shue,
Here.
Wade Coleman,
Here.
John King,
Here.
Aldo, and I'm not
Here.
even pretending I get to say it.
It's Rovito.
Okay.
Here.
Sylvia Pay. Here. Mark Francis.
Okay. Public comments on the agenda items. No comments? Okay. Approval of the minutes. Want to take a minute to read these over?
So I do have one question, and that is the discussion of properties located north and adjacent to Ocean Boulevard between Swordfish and Sailfish. We had, I think, did we task Tim with
That,
generating a
that,
consistency statement?
that was unnecessary. The NCDOT came along and delineated the whole line. And then, what they did was they actually voided areas where it was off-center to correct it. And I don't know if we've notified those property owners or not, but they can actually quick clean the area in front to correct it.
They can do that now?
Yeah, I think that, we notified the property owners, and if we didn't, I'll make sure we did, but we were, the idea was we would notify them, and I don't know if staff got final direction to do that from up top, but that was the plan. So
Okay.
we may still be waiting to hear from DOT to say it's okay, but our thoughts is that each individual lot owner who has that voided area in front of their property should go ahead and try to quit claim deed it out to the right of way. Because they basically abandoned that area where it was so off-center.
Have they put that on a map yet?
Yeah, it was on the map when well, I don't know if it's on a map yet, they did delineate it on the ground, that's where we saw
Okay.
it. So it may not be on a map yet, that may be why we didn't do
Is that an item that
it.
we?
For some reason, it's not in my head anymore, which means it probably didn't go no further than them putting it on the ground. We knew what the next action was, we just didn't get the trigger to do it.
Does this committee need to be concerned with this item anymore?
No.
Okay.
I don't think the property
In other
owners,
words, we were gonna try to come up with a way to, allow those people to use those properties without being penalized for a created non-conformance by DOT. It looks like they're gonna correct it themselves.
Okay.
I had somebody asking me that's in that area, and they hadn't been notified because they were asking me about it.
Well, and it probably have not, because the reason is what Wade said. I don't know that we've seen the final survey come out of NCDOT.
'Cause they were asking me what they had to do, and I said, well, I'm sure you'll be, you'll be notified
We
what
gotta
you
get
have
in
to
touch
do.
with NCDOT here, but when it strikes me in my mind, we gotta talk to them about some other stuff.
Okay.
I'll try to get it laid out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I hear a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Okay, now, this increase of impervious coverage. Rhonda said that you were going to talk to us about that.
Yeah, what it is there's other municipalities in the adjacent area, and they handle their stormwater similar to ours with on-site containment, and they have a higher percentage. We've had some inquiries, in our department about raising that percentage from 30 to 40%. I actually included a couple of things with you because they instigate a discussion point, but the staff or I'll say staff, I don't see a problem with increasing it from 30 to 40%, because there isn't gonna be, the only difference that's gonna make, is that, it could allow some structures to be larger, based on the size of the lots. But it'll be the majority of the structures, but areas where we have larger lots, if they try to get too big, it's gonna be penalizing them just like it would, some of the other restrictions that we put on larger structures, with setbacks and that kind of stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, if we increased it 10% and contained it on site, it's no different than 30% contained on site, because it's not leaving their property. And what I did was I included with you, I have to say, I didn't really try to pick one, but if you look at that Everett G. Graham, the PE one, that's where we get our percentages from. That's how they calculate it, and all of that's kept on site, and that is actually the containment system that's over at the bottom left-hand corner. And as you see, if you turn over on the site plan, those two bars that are on both sides of the site plan, that is where it indicates that they're gonna put it when this one is actually CO'd here recently. So those would just simply get it extended, depending on if that's the same kind that they use, or widened, whichever they have the room to, in order to contain the extra 10%. And what it does is it allows for more impervious coverage, and in most cases, it allows for a little bit bigger footprint, or some bigger footprint, so that people can more utilize the property, giving them all kinds of capabilities that they don't have now. 10% would be a big help in some areas. Now, this would only apply to non-subdivisions that don't have their own covenants, like Heron Landing has its own covenants, it has its own percentage based off of lots. So those are actually state permits. And I gave you the criteria for the difference between a singular permit and a state-required permit. It's in here. And before we get into any questions, if you take a look at, there's a page that's called 56A at the top of the zoning code. That actually has the percentage over to the right of what can be covered. And if you look at the graduated scales for the setbacks, you also notice there's a graduated scale for stormwater percentage. Okay, so if we raise the 30 to 40, then we'll need to percentage-wise raise those. That won't give them an increase in square footage above 4,000, but what it will do is it'll give them the ability to go a little bit bigger if they can get inside the range. But it won't hurt our size limitations. So the ranges are gonna bring the setbacks in, and they have to contain it on site. So, I don't see a negative with it, you know what I mean? And it'll be a little bit more in line. I don't know what Ocean's Isles are, but I'm pretty sure they're above ours. Ours is at 30, I think they're at 40 maybe. I know that one of the other big ones may even be at 45. Now, if the board wants me to, we can get those percentages and bring them back to each other municipality. If you want to see it before you start talking about it, having a discussion. So,
Can I ask why you landed at 40 from 30 versus 50 or 60?
well, we landed.
If you can contain it on site.
Yeah, right. Well, I think because it was 30 and it wasn't us, we kept getting inquiries about being more like the other municipalities. And I landed at 40 because it was between the numbers that I was hearing. There was no specific design to it at all.
Okay.
But it was just 40%. And because you're containing it on site, it's like you said, what generates the number. But I'd hate to see 50%. Once you got 50%, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these lots won't hardly handle more than 30%. They won't hardly handle. Take a canal lot. Hard pressed to get 50 by 100. Fit inside the setbacks of the camera buffer in the rear. Hard pressed to get above 30%. Best you're gonna end up with is And you can't put concrete inside the setback, so it ain't gonna help you there. You follow what I'm saying? If you got the percentage, you can't put it there. It's only gonna be it's only gonna help where you've got the capability to go bigger, but yet the 30% holds you back right now.
Okay.
I think we had one the other day that was bigger. Oh, well, there's this one. This one's actually, this one could have benefited, the example you have could have benefited.
So would existing homes be able to take advantage of this and expand?
I think that if they have the, in other words, if they can fit within the setbacks, you know what I mean, and they're not already over the percentage, I tell you where the existing houses will benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be these existing houses on the canals that Wade built in 1976, and he gave them too much impervious surface, so they're non-conforming now. So if they're sitting at 33% non-conforming, they can't upgrade, and I'm just picking on it. They can't upgrade. But if they've got 40%, they won't be non-conforming, and they will be able to upgrade. They'll be able to make some improvements.
That makes sense.
So it does help there. It would help there. In other words, if they can fit it in the lot, they can. But you got a lot of cases where we have people that want to do some remodeling, they're non-conforming because they got 35% impervious area, they're having to dig up concrete. They wouldn't have to do that now. It save them money,
Right.
give them opportunity to fix what they got. So it's a help.
Okay, so what is being asked of this committee regarding
Well,
that topic?
I think what I'm looking for, like I said, people talked to us and we brought it to you. And so what I would like to see the board do is maybe let me bring something back from the other municipalities so that we can see that we are in a range. Have you look at that. I want to bring a letter to you. We've got a stormwater study going on right now for the towns.
Yeah.
I think that it would be pertinent for us to get with the stormwater engineer, have him look at it and give us a letter saying that he doesn't think that it would affect any future stormwater projects we have or dump more water in there. I think it would be, and y'all need to have that to study and look at. And hopefully if I can get it before then, I can give it to you, and then y'all can study it before the next meeting. So at the next meeting, we could decide if this is something we want to do. And if so, then you can either vote on it or have a discussion or get more information. This ain't no big hurry. And I think that we probably would like to spend a little bit of time on it and make sure we get it right. For instance, staff would like to see maybe some little better language in the 7 part of the lot coverage when we go to do it. Nothing major, but just a little bit better language in there. It talks about coverage on buildable area, but if you're inside the setbacks, that's your buildable area. You know what I mean? So we need to clean up that language a little bit. It's kind of odd. But that's what I would like to see the planning board do. Now, whether y'all want to do that or not, it's up to you.
And Tim, I presume we looking to adjust up for those larger lots where it's 25 and 20%, right?
I think that whatever, if we, and that only gives them more impervious coverage. It doesn't change that range, doesn't change their new setbacks.
Right.
So it's a really, I don't want to say we should do it until y'all look at it. I think y'all really need to study and look at it. I think it's important what we get from the stormwater engineer. I'd be really hard pressed, he's liable to tell me I'm completely wrong and shut up.
Right.
So I think we need to get that information. But the board needs to look at it. The board needs to look at it and give it some consideration. Because this is part of the land usage. It's also going to affect the CAMA plan, because we've got some stuff in there. So, and I've got to write a consistency statement, so we need to review at least once before I went through that. Need to spend some time. Y'all gonna be doing some work this year for the next one. Tuesday.
So the items that you're suggesting that you bring back to us for our information, or you provide to us for our information, is the stormwater engineer's report, and then the information from adjacent or surrounding islands. And was there another piece that I'm missing?
Well, we'll bring back a recommendation for the increases for these graduated lots. We'll bring that back. If we get a favorable report from the engineers, and we'll try to get as many stormwaters. I don't wanna do the 1, 2, 3 thing. I'd like to get 4, 5, so we can get an average. And bring those back, and of course you'll have that as a deliverable list too. And you know, if we find out anything else, we'll bring that to you as well. But I do believe this was just a pointer to talk to. If y'all don't wanna do anything, that's all you have to say. If you don't wanna do nothing, and we won't do nothing. But this was staff generated based off the input we were getting from other areas in the public.
So this is basically a courtesy tip to whoever might be developing a piece of property, like, we're gonna let you do a little bit more with the land because you've asked, and so we'll see. Is that basically it?
You talking about for us being here now?
No, like, well, yeah, having this conversation, really, like, well, why are we even talking about it? Because we're trying to make the island more developable?
Well, I think what I'm trying to do here is that we hold properties back for non-conformance because of that 30%. Most of it was done in the 70s and the 80s. There wasn't a percentage available there. And so there's no such thing as grandfather clause unless you put it in there. It's not in there. And you don't want to put it in there because anybody who's broken the rules will benefit from it. So it helps with that. So we just cut out 10 variances and, you know, unnecessarily because people had hardships due to the fact they bought a house that didn't know had no coverage. The other thing is that we have lots out there, if it's possible to put a little bit bigger home on, you know what I mean? It benefits them as far as their investment in the home, and it also benefits the town in ad valorem taxes, because now the town is allowed to use the property to the maximum part of its value. Now, that's not a conversation I've had with anybody over the percentage, but that is an outcome that will happen.
I guess there's also the possibility of some very small lots going from not really feasible to perhaps feasible with more lot coverage, you know?
Well,
Thinking about this little
it's not
triangle
that-
lot out here, you know?
Well, you gotta be careful with that, because you know there is no minimum house size, right?
Right.
You can't do that. But the 30% coverage, you know what I mean, and it's based off of the size you got, which makes it what you can use, kind of thing. So I think the biggest potential is, on the 30% is those medium-range lots that we have, and those non-conforming lots. People have a hard time, you can't upgrade. If you wanted to, well, for instance, if you got a 30% lot coverage, you're only 10 square feet over the 30%, this happens. You want to put 2 stories on your house, the non-conforming. We didn't really add any more impervious area there, so to speak, but we stopped them from making money on their investment, because they can't go up. The
Okay.
house. Can't enclose the back deck, that was. I'm just giving you an example. All those are benefits to the public, where I don't really see it being a negative impact. I don't, as a plan director, if you're containing it on site. If you're doing sheet flow or something, I would say absolutely not, never, don't even come close. But the fact that it's in the containment system. And I don't know that you'll be able to go 40%, which it might be what we hear from the stormwater engineer, because we may not have we may not have the ground unless you got a bigger house to contain it. Yeah, it comes back to, you gotta have room to put it in there. You gotta have the right side kind of dirt.
All right, well, I guess I'll make a motion if there's no further questions or discussion. The motion for town to present recommendations for the increases of lot coverage, impervious lot coverage, the engineer storm report, and then a comparison of nearby communities that are similar to ours to our next meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll second that.
We're gonna bring that back to the fire.
All, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. All right, the second thing is the ordinance of pier and docks located in the canal. Possible ordinance.
Okay, well, this is we need, and we don't have to spend, planning board got to spend some time on it. We're gonna have to have a discussion and bring out some information. What we have is we have no period line in our canals. We may be the only ones that don't. And what that does is that we are relying on Gamma out of Wilmington to draw a line down the side of our canal and follow floating docks. We have been getting quite a few complaints about people moving their floating docks further out than they were before. We don't enforce that because we don't have an ordinance, and we don't write the CAMA permits out in the public trust water. If we come up with an ordinance and if we come up with a pierhead line, it is my understanding that CAMA will enforce it with their permits when they issue it, which will then give us the ability to, when we issue the permit, to limit those locations. In other words, CAMA won't issue them a permit because it's too far out, right? And we can't issue them a building permit. If CAMA issues them a permit to put it out so far, and they give us that as their criteria and their location and their design, we issue a permit. If they go beyond it, then they'll be in violation of state statute 168-1112, which would be a deviation from the approved permits, and we can stop them and make them bring them back. So in order to do that, we have to have an established pierhead line, and we have to have an ordinance. We're gonna bring to y'all some ordinances of the other communities for us to take a look at. We're trying to gather up, we've got some of the surveys, because as you're aware, the town dredges or works partners with the developments to dredge those canals. And so there's a dredge line in there, so we're trying to get the surveys for those dredge lines. And we've already started, staff has already started talking to them in CAMA because they're familiar with it, and they gave us some ideas of where we can pull our setback lines from. But we gotta see these surveys first. So we're gonna be doing some work on these. This is gonna probably be like mini workshops inside the planning board. I would say probably for 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4 meetings, where we take a look at this stuff and try to figure out what the best thing is for the town. But it is becoming a problem. It's like every other week now we're getting a different one. So it is becoming a problem. And I have been out there, they are getting staggered along with it.
So we'd have to, we've got the ability then to go backwards, because most of the canal lots are developed out, right? So
Right, well, we're not going, this is how when I talked to them at CAMA briefly, as I understood that because they fail regularly, they get replaced regularly, and as they're replaced, they'll bring them back to the pier. They'll bring them back. And what we'll do is we'll limit their ability to repair those on the 50% rule and make them go get the proper permits and then pull them back. That's the same rule that's used for anything. It's also described in chapter 46 of the North Carolina Residential Code.
So if I understand then what you're saying, Tim, if nothing changes, we don't have a major flood come up, pull something up, and they gotta move it or replace it, if they've kind of gone farther than they should, they're okay unless or until something causes them to have to rebuild it. Okay.
And what's happening is that they're getting issued permits, and because we don't have that pierhead line, the permits are not guided through CAMA as to where those things can be out there. You know what I mean? And the canals look like, People didn't bulkhead at the same time. So one canal, the back of the high water mark's back here and another one's back here. So this one ends up being further out, you know what I mean? So we need to establish a spearhead line. And if we get one, then what we'll do is bring this one back a little bit and send this one out. When you look down through the canals, all the flooding docks. Now, what we have to be careful about is not getting them out into the dredge channel, which I think they are now. That's why they're putting them out so far, is so they don't touch bottom at any point in time, you know what I mean? And if that's the case, we talked about it, and the town may need to dredge further wider and bring them back, but, you know, we got some things to talk about. I think this is gonna be one of the things that we've worked on, that's gonna take a little bit more time than most other stuff has in the past.
One of the things I've noticed, and maybe this is unrelated, but as people buy bigger and bigger boats, they hang out more when they're sitting on the lifts.
Yep, yeah.
And they're kind of in the, I don't know if they're in the dredge of the canal, the channel, but they're out in the kind of in the right of way.
Yeah, when they bring them cabin cruisers through there too and park them, and they could, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter, if your boat's 4 feet wide and you're on the pier head line and they're 14 feet wide, I don't know what you saw, but, you know, I guess everybody has an opportunity to buy the biggest boat they want. You know what I mean? But if we control the pier head line, at least we can control those things that we do have control over. But I know exactly what you're talking about, because I can tell you exactly the ones that right now, where they replaced the boat and the boat lift. The boat is so much bigger than the other one, it now sticks out 5 foot.
Yeah, it
you know?
can.
Yeah. So I don't know if we can, I don't know if y'all wanna talk about limiting boat size.
No,
I'm not gonna recommend that. But that is a problem.
It is.
That is a neighborly problem. But I don't know what you do. What do you do when your boat slip sticks out into public trust water and the guy with the big cabin cruiser takes the end off of it? Who's at fault? We got a pier head line. I think it would be a little harder for people to take advantage of like that.
Some of them stick out way farther than they don't even know a boat lift. I mean, they're just
That's what I'm saying.
tied up in the floating dock, and
But
they can't even get by.
You got a pier head line and, you got a pier head line. I don't know, if we could write a rule that says that your boat lift can't stick out further than the pier head line, or the back of your boat, you know what I mean? You put it on a lift.
Interesting.
I mean, we limit the size of the house, why don't we limit the size of the boat?
I agree.
it's a non-pervious area.
Uh,
It's a non-pervious area.
That's right. Make it part of the 40%. But if the boat's like a swimming pool, it's considered pervious.
Any discussion about this?
It seems,
Yeah, next steps.
it sounds like next steps is that you're gonna put together some information for us to consider.
We'll try to get, I don't know if we'll get all that together, we're gonna focus on the 40%. This is gonna take a while, so we're bringing you stuff back and we get it on this pier head line, because I've got to have a lot of conversations to get the information that we need, specifically with Cam.
All right, so it sounds like there's really not any action to be taken at this time.
I'm gonna bring you a bunch of stuff back on this.
Okay.
I was hoping to have some of it, I wanted to have the surveys, but, and I got part of them, but I didn't get them all, I didn't want to bring them. Preaching house too. I think we looked at the whole thing, and looked at it.
Okay.
But it is my understanding that from Cameron, that, didn't he say the other day we were one of the few that didn't have one?
Yes, and there is increasing complaints
Yeah.
to us about this problem.
And to them. They
Yes,
spent time out
both.
there too. Which is funny, because we never had a problem before.
Yeah, but everything that is filling up.
When they got more money, so they burn bigger boats.
It's all like COVID money.
But that's all the items that we have here. We don't have, the last item we had, we're pretty smooth at the town hall, and it's worked well. So,
Okay, anybody got anything else?
Nope.
What's in our little
Comments?
comments? Comments? Anybody?
I guess I'll just offer a short comment. Just thanks to the town for their work. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Y'all know Ron's retired, right?
Yes.
That's what we hear.
Ron's retired. Monday's your last day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Friday.
Congratulations.
25 years this time.
Oh,
Friday.
congratulations.
Friday's my last
That's
day.
good.
Monday's my retirement day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I've got a
Congratulations.
long list.
You got a long
Yeah.
At
list.
home.
There you go.
Mhm.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You will be missed.
Yeah,
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll enjoy it.
Every 15 minutes, we'll say,
Yeah.
are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure.
So now we get to deal, we don't have to deal with Rhonda anymore, we have to deal with you.
Yeah.
That's the comment I got when I said, you're not accepting your resignation.
We've been laterally moved, Ron to 2.0. Dealing with Janet.
Okay.
All right, so we make a motion to adjourn,
Motion.
Second.
all approved?
Aye.
Aye.